to Integrated EDU,
where innovation meets education.
Here we explore fresh strategies,
creative learning pathways,
and powerful tools to boost student engagement and growth.
Let's elevate education,
one idea at a time. Hey educators, welcome back to Integrated EDU. I'm Megan.
And I'm Kara.
Listen, we have a very exciting episode coming for you today. If you've noticed, we already have someone on the screen with us. So if you don't know who it is, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. But we have none other than Steve Spangler. Steve, here you are.
We are on the YouTubes. Carly, you need to know that this is going to be a serious thing. So there's going to be YouTubes. We're going to sing Kumbaya. Oh my gosh. If people are watching at home right now, I just caught myself on fire. So that was interesting. So if you're not watching the YouTubes, you should probably be watching. So go over there and see that. And you get to see the lovely Kara and Megan. And you can go, why is Steve Spangler in a kitchen? Look at this. There it is, people. I'm in a kitchen right here. Quick little secret. Watch this. Not a real kitchen. I mean, it is a real kitchen, but look, you can't find like real things. Like there's beakers instead of like glasses, and there's cylinders, and there's there's chemicals in here and that kind of thing. This is where we shoot our show DIY Sci. And so this is the set for DIY Sci. It kind of looks like if panned out and everything, it would look a little bit like this. I think if you can kind of see that other camera that's right there. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. And even behind the scenes. So it's kind of fun to kind of see where we are. And so thanks for letting me do the podcast and the interview from that standpoint as well. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
Are you allowed to drink coffee on this podcast? Is that okay?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're
any time of the day is a good day for coffee. Anytime.
Yeah, especially in education. So
absolutely.
Pouring yourself a cup
Hey, here's the thing. Let's say you had some coffee, and let's say that you're one of those. Do you like cream and sugar in the coffee?
Absolutely.
So of course you want cream and sugar in the coffee. So you put a little cream, you put a little sugar, and then let's say you don't have a spoon. Let's just say you don't have a spoon. What would you do next?
You just sort of try to swirl that. Just don't spill any.
Yes, you would spill it. See that, and you might say what I would say. Put your finger in it. Like you're not a barbarian. Lucky for you, I'm going to teach you how to solve that problem right away. So look at this. You're just going to get yourself a board like the one that you see here, and you see I put some cords through the board like this. So that's no problem at all. And then you just hold this here. Now you put your coffee right here like this, and now this is perfect, right? You just kind of rock it back and forth. See how that works? This is why I don't do this at my home. I do it at the studio home because my wife would kill me if you did. Watch this. Dun, 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 dun. Carly, do you have a drum roll? There's no drum roll along the way? Oh, maybe. You maybe. Look at this. This is perfect. Yep. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And watch this. Wow! The crowd goes wild. The crowd goes wild. Oh, thank you very much, everybody. If you're listening to this, you're going, why am I tuning into this? If not, I just did an amazing trick where I produced an elephant in the kitchen. So that was amazing. If you're actually watching YouTube, you'll see that I just spun my coffee around. Cheers, everybody. And that's how you do it. See, so now you know how to stir your coffee in the morning, just in case you need to do that.
That was beautiful. You know, I was thinking we have all of these. I had all these questions prepped, for our conversation today. I highlight all. Listen, these we can't do that. In fact, we have a better plan. We have a better plan. In fact,
okay.
Kara and I want to talk about this book here, The Engagement Effect, and specifically maybe all the tabs that we have and the sticky notes.
Highlights and all of the things.
At one point in time, I'm pretty sure I had to get a new highlighter because the other one ran out of ink halfway through your book.
Is that the one where you highlighted and you're like this? He doesn't know how to use a subject and a verb in the same sentence, and you're just highlighting notes for the editor. So you send it back to Simon and Schuster and go, how bad can this get, right? Is that what you said?
Didn't you have like 8 or 10 people working on this book?
No, it was all highlights and tabs for things that we loved, things that we agreed with, things we want to make sure that we, share out and make sure that people know and understand. We cannot recommend
You're the kindest
enough.
Creatures on the planet. Thank you.
I cannot wait to start, discussing some of the stuff in this book. It was so good. It was so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, going through this book, not very many people can write a book and as you're reading it, hear the author in your head. You have a way. You are the engagement guy, right? You bring engagement. I was engaged within the first 5 pages, especially the QR codes that listen, my family was ignored for a solid few hours, but they're fine. Dinner was fed. But I can't wait to dig into this, Steve. This is going to be great.
Oh, you're so fun. Can I say you're kind? And here at the very beginning, there has to be some sort of understanding. What is this thing, the engagement effect? Is it something that's out there? Do you Wikipedia it or whatever? What just happened with the spinning cup is the engagement effect. Part of the secret that you uncover in talking about this, and talking about engagement, is how do you change the way people look at something? Like, we know what a podcast is supposed to look like, right? You have a guest, the guest comes on, you say some nice things, the guest says some nice things that have been he said or she said 1,000,000 times, and then you shake your head. But this started with spin a coffee cup in your kitchen using a board and some rope hooked up. That's how crazy it is, right? Why did I do that? Because I just had to set the tone differently. I had to take whatever the expectations were, change it up so it's a new playing field. I didn't tell you in our notes that we were going to do that. And while engagement isn't a gimmick, and we talk about it in the book, there are strategies to get people to lean in, to listen closely, to care deeply, and inspire them to action. Because engagement without action is kind of like cheerleading without a game to cheer for, right? I can learn a whole bunch of techniques and dances, but if there's nobody there to do it for and nobody to inspire, then it's kind of senseless. And so that's kind of, for those people who are listening going, maybe it's just a clever title because people are saying engagement. The title was going to be Best Day Ever, because one of my signature stories on stage forever has been this thing called Best Day Ever. I kind of feel like the comedian who has been on the road for way too many years and now records the Netflix special. This engagement effect is the Netflix special, right? And where you're just going, put it all into the book, put it all there, and stuff that I never even expected to put in there. So kind were the editors to go, wait just a second, tell me more about this, this, and this. And they actually pulled more stories out. And so that's what made this whole process very fun. So I am absolutely honored, all messing around aside, I am beyond honored that, number one, you read the book, but number two, that you actually took the time to say there were a couple things. So I'm so excited about this podcast because you just changed it on me. I was trying to spin the cup on you, but you hold up a book and go, look, we're scrapping the notes, which makes me a little nervous. And now we're going to talk about what you wrote in the book. Now that's scaring me. All right. The floor is yours, ladies. Knock it out of the park.
One thing that I had highlighted and tabbed twice actually in here goes along with what you were just saying about how engagement isn't a formula. It's an invitation. And so I think it goes along really well with how you literally opened up for us and grabbed us from the beginning. And I think a lot of times, educators in particular, we get roped into the whole, we need something very specific. We need to be told X, Y, Z, A plus B equals C type of situation. But I liked how you stated in there that, it's not a magic formula, but it's an invitation to bring people in.
Well, thank you for saying that. And I think about it all the time with, what does it look like? What does engagement look like? It could be engagement with the person who's serving you lunch. It could be the engagement at school with the custodian. When I go and see Miro, who is our custodian, he's a very special man. He's from Yugoslavia, and what a wonderful guy, what a caring soul. And I'm reminded of how he takes care of the building. And in passing one day, I remember saying, instead of saying, hey, Miro, how you doing? I just said, Miro, just a second, could you... How do you get the school this clean? Because if I did this for my wife at home, it would floor her. How do you keep the school this clean? I literally watched a man who's probably in his mid-60s push his shoulders back, stand a little taller, a little bit more in his voice, going, well, thank you. One of the things you have to do is a system. And so he started to explain these systems. Now, honestly, did I need those systems? Probably so. I probably did. But more importantly, it kind of brings out that one perspective that we were talking about of how important it is. Mark Scherenbrock taught me the principle, and he was taught by Barbara Jordan. It says it's more important to be interested than interesting, right? And so that invitation for engagement happens when you're interested in what somebody else does. You find any excuse at all. It used to drive my boys nuts, my 3 boys nuts, until they figured out what Dad was doing. And you could see him go, he's doing his thing. They never called it the engagement effect. It's just Dad's doing his thing. Dad's trying to connect. That's what they felt it was. Dad's trying to connect. And if I could instill in 3 young men, when we turned them loose in the universe and just said, I hope that you become just wonderful men, fathers, grandfathers someday, maybe along the way, is for you to be interested in people, to find those opportunities to go, tell me what the secret is in your classroom. You're such a great teacher. What's kept you there all these years, Kara? You know, it's that kind of thing where I genuinely am interested, but I have to find an opening. And once I can open that door and then stop talking and then let the person just flood, it's a good pathway that starts this two-way communication. Engagement is this two-way street. It can't flow in one direction.
Yeah.
That's why it's not a gimmick.
It's not a gimmick.
No.
And, you know, here, so Kara and I have what's called IntegratED. We developed the science curriculum for our school district, and we kept thinking, if we send these kits to these teachers, they're not going to do them because they just don't have time. And so we're like, how do we put this into things that they have to do? Well, reading and writing you have to do. And so if we just threw science with it, maybe they would do all the things. And part of that was, how can we connect with our teachers in order to get this material across? How can we make it more fun? How can we engage with them? And, you know, IntegratED was kind of born with that. And I think, you say in your book, one of my tabs is that you can't wait to be interesting. You have 15 seconds, right, to grab whoever it is that you're trying to connect with. And you tell a story in there about being at a hotel, and you tried the wallet trick with the fire, and the lady just didn't get it. She just wasn't with you, and you realized what it was that didn't go right. And I think our audience would I would like them to hear kind of what didn't go well with that when you're trying to engage with someone in a way, and that sometimes it's on our part, and that two-way street really does need to happen.
You're nice. You know, the opening line of the book is, there's a reason why I smell like lighter fluid. And the reason why I smell like lighter fluid is because, like, people put cologne on during the day. Here, can I actually show you? Is my briefcase right there? I don't know. I have a wallet that I put, well, it's just like the book. So it's a smaller version of the book. And on the inside of the book, if you see right there, there's the little mechanism here. So if you have this little guy, and when you push the button down here, it heats it up. And so then it catches on fire. Here we go. Let me catch it on fire again for you. And it catches on fire. And so there it is. So the same thing happens to my wallet. So it's a little flicker, and I flick it, and my wallet catches on fire. And there's money on one side, and there's a thing on the other side, and I just put it in my pocket. And so wherever you go, whatever you're doing, when you're ordering something for lunch or whatever it is, so we're checking into a hotel, and I always, the line is, "Hi, Spangler, do you have something next to a fire escape?" And I light the wallet on fire. And many times, I mean, I've had that kind of reaction. I've had somebody try to throw something on it, like to put it out, like, I've had other people jump back. But the ones that I love the most are the ones that look at you with absolute defiance and go, "I don't know, I'll check." and then they go and they do their thing, and you're back, and you're like, "Oh, you don't know how to play." So I know if I can engage. Well, they didn't do that. They just looked at me kind of dumbfounded, and I just kept on talking and the banter and so forth, and it didn't work. And then down the way, getting a coffee, and it didn't work. And I was traveling with my wife. We were in Florence, Alabama, and I said, "It's going to be a tough crowd." And she looked at me and she goes, "No, it's you. You just didn't give them room to engage at all. You just kept on talking." She goes, "You got to slow the banter down." And I thought, oh, how wise is that? I was doing a show for them, not cultivating, not creating, but cultivating an experience which allowed for this exchange. I should have lit the wallet on fire and then just paused and let them go, hey buddy, your wallet's, and you go, I know, I can't control it. I should have said something else along the way. Do you know how I can get it to stop catching on fire? Have you ever had that problem? Now all of a sudden it's a conversation, not me trying to be a funny guy to pull a trick over on them. Got it? And so it's that first 15 seconds, and I really kind of learned that. I tell you in the book that I grew up in a family of magicians. And so my dad ran a magic school in Denver, Colorado. There's some pretty famous magicians that would come through that school to chat with one another back in the 70s and 80s. And magic was just kind of on a rise and was on live television. And it was kind of a heyday for magicians back in that time. And I remember through that entire process, learning how to do magic tricks so that one day you'd go out and perform. And if you're a magician, talk to any professional, semi-professional magician, we've all worked a restaurant. It is the hardest gig in the world. It sucks because nobody wants you to come and do dumb tricks at their table, right? Hi, we've brought the magician in, and somebody comes dressed in some stupid garb and it's like, hey, here's a sponge ball in your hand, and they're doing that. And you're just like, I just came here to eat my... So I had to figure out at a pretty early age, how could you approach a table and get them to want you to be there? And you got 15 seconds. So if you approach the table and go, hi, I'm Steve Spangler. I've been brought in by the manager. I'm a magician. All of a sudden, I've just wasted half of that time. But if I come to the table and something just happens, something catches on fire, I produce a bowl of oranges or whatever it is that happens, it's totally, and people are like, what was that? All of a sudden, there's this thing that happens. What you want to have happen is 3 tables away, you want those people to tell their waiter or waitress, could you have the guy come to our table? Because they heard all this laughter going on. They heard all this stuff happening. Now, they're inviting the engagement. We haven't even connected yet, right? But they see something that they want. I think it happens with kids. They see something that they want. And that's why I think it's, we've talked about before, it's that teacher who does this kind of spinning tray trick or shoots the toilet paper or just does anything in their own way, starts with a clever story for the day or whatever it is, where kids like, I want that. I don't know what that is, but you make me feel good when I'm here. I just want that. So
I think,
again, not a strategy. Well, I don't know, maybe rambling.
Well, and it goes with another thing I have highlighted in my book where it says that connection is the cornerstone. And then behind that, essentially, it's a showing of like love and support. And so I think that connects really well with, educators thinking about our students, like giving that space to connect with our kids and then inviting that engagement with them. They're a lot more willing to come along with you when they feel that connection because like you said, it's the cornerstone to everything. And so the same with the example of the restaurant, like, they feel that connection, they want to be invited in. And so I think that's a really good example of that.
You're nice to say that. A good friend of mine, a wonderful speaker, consultant, corporate consultant, talking about culture. His name is Anton Gunn, and Anton says that, and it's absolutely worth committing to memory. Every person needs 3 things. They have 3 questions in their mind when you approach and when you start to talk. And kids are this way. Number 1, do you care? Do you care about me at all? Number 2, can you help me? Because if you care, I need some help on some things. And number 3, can I trust that you'll do what you say you're going to do? Do you care? Can you help me? Can I trust you? And if you can solve and answer those 3 questions, that opens a pathway to connecting. Engagement is way down the road. Engagement is that different thing. As a teacher, it's so funny, people who are non-teachers, the Mongols in the world who are non-teachers, they don't get it. So, but as a teacher, you go, no, it's the eyes. Remember, when a kid goes into this trance-like state and you're like, oh, she's engaged, it's happening. And not every kid engages at the same frequency, right? And they don't resonate at that same frequency. But that kid does. And you see that kid now stand up out of their seat, move over here. You start to see them do this thing where they're not being disobedient. They are in the state of transformation. Something you did caused them to think differently. And as teachers, our most valuable commodity, our most precious commodity is time, not money, but time. And if we only had the time to give each child the opportunity to be able to explore that spark, and as soon as we see that spark, to fan the fire a little bit, give it some oxygen, put some fuel on that and let it go, we don't. And so masterful teachers have learned how to do that throughout the room. Sometimes it doesn't happen with certain kids. You know that. And that's the hard part of teaching. And that's the sad part, that you have to put your arms around a teacher and go, you can't get to all of them, but man, it's worth a try.
I think that goes along really what Kara and I have been trying to create in classrooms is we don't have a lot of extra time. In fact, I say all the time, if what we're doing is not purposeful, why are we doing it? You know, we have to have purposeful things in our classrooms because our plates are full. We're constantly being inundated with these things. And a big part of what we have are pathways of learning. It's a way to connect with each different student the best that we can through movement, through visual arts, through, you know, storytelling, trying to give them that connection piece so that we can get those eyes or that aha moment, the old light bulb moment, you know, and it feels so good as a teacher to have those kids feel that way and just genuinely just be connected and completely in love with what you're teaching and the content that's around that. And it kind of goes to, you speak about this, that we have to be able to be our authentic selves as teachers, that we cannot fit into this box, into this scripted curriculum, that it's okay to be a little bit crazy, a little bit unique, if you will, loud in the hallway. I want our principal or admin to walk in and pop their head and go, what's going on in here? I would love for you to ask that question because I want to tell you what's going on in here, because that's where your kids are connecting.
My principal, Dr. Dina Tarleton, I write about her in the book. For those people who are listening and watching, Dr. Tarleton was and is a combination of, I say, Einstein, Piaget, and a Nordstrom stylist. If you put all those people together, that's Dr. Tarleton. Brilliant. And she would goof with me all the time because, as I've told people in keynotes and otherwise in the book, I traded my 4 walls for 4 wheels. I started on an AV cart and I'd push my stuff around the room, around the school. Only did that for 11 years. So, and whatever room I was in, Dina was wonderful. She kind of knew. And so she would play this character of opening the door when I was in there doing something, going, Steve Spangler, what are you doing? And you could see the kids go, you're busted. And she knew exactly when to come in. And it was that exchange. And, she, you know, I had kids go, Dr. Tarleton asked me what you're doing, and I couldn't lie to her. She's the principal. I had to say that you lit the thing on fire. I go, why did you tell her we lit it on fire? So it was that thing back and forth. Man, does that increase engagement. And you don't know these seeds that you're planting until you get a little bit older like me, and every once in a while, ding, the email comes in of a kid going, hey, I'm 37 years old, I work at such and such in Pennsylvania, and just wondering if you're still a teacher, and I saw your name, and one of your videos came past my feed, and I never forgot the day that. And then they tell you something you did at that elementary school in Englewood, Colorado. Is that fun? And you go, how in the world would they have ever remembered that day that we did that thing with the rockets or whatever it was? So I tell teachers they don't understand the superpower that they have. You really don't get the impact and influence that you have, and you don't even know that you're doing it, you know, and it happens. I remember we did this for DIY side. We did the spinning plate thing or the cup thing, and so we made a dozen of these and gave them to kids and put them outside and gave them plastic cups and let them dip it in the water and put it on there, and they could do it. And there were kids who were not going to do this at all. They were not going to spin it at all, and I thought, I wonder why. And then the teacher reminded me, English is their second language and they don't trust you yet. Number one, they're having a hard time understanding you, and so I'm having to translate. But number two, they don't trust. And so instead of me trying to be the showman, I had to put down the guard and go to each of them and go, let's just try it. It's okay. We have video. It appeared on the show. We actually did an entire episode on that day at that school at Barnum Elementary in Denver, Colorado, called Classroom Impossible. It was our connection kind of piece where this little girl is swinging it around the playground and she commanded the audience because all the other kids are like, how are you doing this? See what I mean? So it is that sense of allowing them to be the star of the show and still being in control and being vulnerable. It's okay. That's the biggest thing I hear from teachers going, no, I can't fake ignorance with kids because they're going to think that I'm not very smart. And it's not a matter of them not thinking you're not smart. It's giving them a chance to be able to provide something or add something to the conversation that you might not know. It's okay if you already know it. Just go along with it. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, we give you permission to do these things in your classroom, to do them in your buildings. And, you know, we talk with leaders all the time about that we just can't get our teachers to engage the students, you know, Chromebooks and technology, and they're just, we have behavioral issues, and we've said the things. Yeah, no kidding. We're like, you don't say. We can help you solve that problem. And what's kind of funny is that we come in and we almost say the same thing that they've been saying, but yet the teachers are responding. And I think it comes to that you just have to look at things differently. You know, we don't need to change education. There's nothing really new in education. We just have to look at what we're already doing differently, and that we can't laminate lesson plans because this group of kids are way different than the group of kids we're going to get. And just back to what you say again and again and again in your book is that connection piece and being authentic and inviting that in, and just kind of being okay with, if you will, the notes in between what I'm supposed to do here and what's my end goal with these kids. What happens in the middle, I think, is exactly what you say. It's the magic that takes place.
Yeah. And for those people who are listening, there is a story in there about these musicians. We were in New Orleans, and my family was listening to these jazz musicians. And when we got up and we left, we were at Preservation Hall. A gentleman who looked like Louis Armstrong, he was playing the trumpet. My boys were so close they could feel the air, which was amazing. And it was just, they were surrounded by music, and this music just came alive. And what impressed my boys was they didn't have sheets of music, Dad. How did they know how to play the notes? Isn't that great? That's a beautiful piece. And trying to explain what jazz really is and a feeling. As we were leaving, my boys shook hands, my wife and I said I was leaving. And I looked at him and I go, hey, just tell me a secret. An older gentleman, the guy who looked like Louis Armstrong and played the trumpet. I said, can you, what's your secret? What keeps you going? What gets you up in the morning? How do you keep doing this? And that's when he said those magic words. He says, well, young man, I'd say it's the notes in between. And I said, I'm not a musician, help me. And he goes, well, I know where I'm going to start every night, and I know when I'm going to finish, because the drummer does this. It means I got to wrap up. He says, but for that song, I just don't know what we're going to play. There's structure, but I don't know what we're going to play. We play because of the feeling of the audience. And tonight, because you brought your family, the notes in between were real good. Thank you. And then he pushes me out. My wife is standing out with my 3 boys in the hot rain. We don't have hot rain in Colorado. So they're standing in the hot rain, and she's looking at me like, where have you been? And I go, hey, it's the notes in between. And she goes, get over here, right? Stop with your notes in between. Leave it to you to have a teacher metaphor, and everything's a learning moment. But when I can look into a teacher's heart and be able to say, that's why you keep teaching. Yes. You know how you're going to start, and I have a feeling you know how you're going to end. It's just that in between. It's all these experiences that happen, things that happen to us. It's a hard thing, and I'm brought in many times for 3rd and 7th year teachers by a superintendent going, just get them to sign their contract, would you? If they would just sign the contract, because we know we lose teachers at years 3 and 7. Those seem to be those magic years. And just remind them that what they're doing is valuable. But I have to also remind those teachers, you have to have a friend, somebody that you can confide in that's also a teacher, and say, today wasn't so good, can you help me? Or today was phenomenal, can you help me? And only a teacher gets it. Somebody who's not in education, they don't get it. They can be caring, but they don't get really that feeling that a teacher gets when you connect and keeps you in this job forever. There's reasons that people do this forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, we could probably talk to you for another solid hour.
I was hoping you were saying
So
30 seconds, but then we
here
don't
we
have
go.
any more. This is pretty much the whole
Yep,
book.
that's all the tabs we had. Sorry.
Would you do me a favor? Flip through your book right now and stop on a tab. Just pull one out and just tell me what you got. Kara, do the same thing. Just open up a tab. I just want to see what. Give me some sort of idea. What did you land on? What was this? Uh-oh, she even underlined it.
I did. It even has a sticky with it. I said communication isn't just verbal. Look at the quote. That's what I wrote. You say, when a teacher finally learns how to craft experiences the correct way, there's a sense of calm in the classroom. That's because they have learned to let go so that connection can happen. The teacher trusts their energy, which means they can trust the students to move in their own way.
Thank you. Do you know that's one of the hardest thing I think for teachers along the way is to let go. And just to stand back and just trust it's going to happen. It's happening, right? It's almost like we need to have a t-shirt that says it's happening. And when the engagement effect starts to happen, you just have to stand back and go, it's magical, but it's happening, and not to jump in and try to fix it. But thank you for catching that. That was very nice of you to catch. That's
Yes.
Okay, Kara, your turn.
Mine was, which days matter? Which activities count the most? You'll never know. You'll never know when you're going to connect with a kid, because when you connect with a kid and everything is perfect, the experience is life-changing. Every day matters.
Oh, it was a first grade teacher. If you go to the very end, we had the hardest time in writing the book. The very last chapter is titled Mrs. Lycum. And that was a first grade teacher. We didn't know what to do with that story. And I say we, the editors of the book, we just kept on moving this around and trying to put it here and here. And it finally dawned on us, it should be at the end. It needed enough space to breathe. That story is beautiful with this lady and the lessons that she taught me. She deserved to close the whole thing up. And that's kind of what she taught me. In her beautiful story of a kid that came back 30 years later. And I won't spoil it for you, but it's kind of a cool thing that this kid shows up at Denny's and says, can I introduce you to my family? And it's the next chapter in this teaching story. It's not reserved for just teaching. It could be a manager. It could be your first boss. It could be anybody who reconnects with somebody that shaped their life in a special way. It's our way of coming back and saying those 3 words to them, best day ever. And it's exactly what happens. So cool. You guys, you gave me a best day ever today by inviting me on the podcast and letting me spin my coffee around and look at your notes and everything else. It's been special. So thanks for letting me connect.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You know, I don't think our conversation needs to end here. We would like to invite you back again for part 2 at some point in time, because your message really aligns with what Kara and I, hearts and souls, believe for education. You know, as fresh new educational speakers, we get to go around, we get to do this with actual teachers that allow us to come in and work with their kids. And having this book, The Last Story, is so special. And you're right. When I closed the book, I had to sit with it a minute and just really reflect on not only myself as an educator, but as a speaker, as a mom. It just needs to sit on every leader, every person's desk, and just have that message come through. So we actually appreciate you taking the time to come on and just share all of this wonderful stuff that you've been doing.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're so kind. If you're attending a conference and you see Kara and Megan's name for Integrated in the program, mark that, circle that one, go, must attend this particular session, because it will be phenomenal. You will write so many notes, and then you can just stop writing notes because you're going to buy the book. So buy Integrated and just get the book, get them to sign the book, because it makes it far more valuable down the road. And it reminds people just how important it is. We connect when we get these kinds of things. And Joanne Lycum, when she passed along her box of goodies to me, it was amazing to see all the things that she had collected over the years that I never even knew to ask. I should have asked her about this handout she collected from this workshop she attended back in the 80s. And I wish I would have known to ask about these things that her notes on the side, to be able to go, teach me something about that. Every teacher has a box, metaphorically metaphorically, it's just something special, the tools that we give to somebody else when we leave the profession. And I'm just telling you that they're not leaving their profession, they're in their prime. So if you get a chance to hear them, first of all, pick up their book. Number two, attend one of their workshops, one of their sessions. You'll love it. The third thing, Carly, can I have another play date with Kara and Tracy? Or Kara and Megan? Is that okay? Yeah, okay, good. I can have another play date. So this is so
Carly.
good.
Carly.
Yes, I can have another play date. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be great.
Well, listen, we need to tell everybody listening, how do we get a hold of this book? And I'm pretty sure I heard you say that they could get one signed also in some way to make it more valuable. Look at that. Magic.
Every book is handwritten, so I'm only into 3 copies right now. So I just write each one by hand. No. You can get it Amazon, Barnes & Noble, that's fine. If you'd like to have a signed copy, simply go to stevespangler.com, and I am sure you'll see the way it's right there to be able to find the engagement effect, and we'll sign a copy and send it off to you that way. I've been so honored. It's only been out for about a month and a couple days. There are principals and superintendents that are now doing this as a beginning of the year. I don't even know they had book clubs or administrative retreats or whatever, and they're using the book for that. And so people who do that, we have a special time at the end of that to do kind of a question and answer after people have read the book, to be able to ask questions. And so we kind of do a big Zoom and do a debrief for about 90 minutes. And so that makes it kind of fun as well. So lots of different opportunities, but you are super, super kind to let people know about the book. I really, really appreciate it.
Yes. Well, listen, everybody listening, you got to pick it up. And we cannot wait to have our next conversation with you. To find more about Steve Spangler, he is all over, but especially on YouTube. You got to check out that DIY science videos, Coca-Cola, Diet Coke and Mentos.
Something along those lines.
Listen, if you don't know anything about that, just go ahead and Google him, and you will see all the amazing things that he has brought in the hands of a lot of children and a lot of educators around the United States. So, Steve, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And until next time,
we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow educators.
Join the conversation in the comments and let us know how you're applying these strategies in your classroom.
Together, we can create meaningful learning experiences for all students.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.